What if one typo on a legal form could steal years of your life? For Marcus Hill, a single misplaced letter branded him a fugitive. He swore he was innocent, yet the courtroom roared with certainty. Powerful voices whispered rumors, drowning out the truth. And one mistake would spiral into the fight of his life. Stay with me until the very end, and don't forget to tap like, subscribe, and drop a comment telling us where you're watching from. Because what comes next will test everything you thought you knew. Marcus Hill was an IT technician from Ohio, steady and cautious, a man who rarely made waves. His trouble began with a clerical error. A database entry listed Marcus Hall instead of Hill on a probation record tied to a parole violation in another state. That typo was enough to mark him as a wanted man, even though he'd never stepped foot in Alabama. At first, Marcus thought it was a joke. A knock on the door, 2 U.S. Marshals, and a warrant bearing his name or something close to it. He protested, pointing at his clean record, his Ohio driver's license. But the officer's eyes were cold. The system said he was guilty. And in that moment, truth meant nothing. Within days, Marcus was shackled, flown across state lines, and placed in a county jail cell that smelled of mildew and fear. His co-workers assumed the worst. Whispers spread that he'd been leading a double life. His girlfriend, Dana, tried to defend him, but every online search linked Marcus Hill to crimes committed hundreds of miles away. Prosecutor Elaine Cutter saw an easy win. The paperwork matched enough for her to argue identity. Judges trusted her reputation, jurors nodded at her authority. Meanwhile, Marcus's public defender, overworked and distracted, told him to just take the plea, it's safer. Each hearing chipped away at his hope. He was losing, not because he was guilty, but because of one mistake. By month 3, Marcus sat in a crowded courtroom as Cutter declared him a repeat offender. She waved files, photographs, and signatures. Each carried the name Marcus Hall, yet the jury only saw Marcus Hill in chains. The pressure peaked, his chest tight with despair. And then, the midnight knock split the silence. That knock came at Dana's door. A man named Victor Ramirez, a retired clerk from Alabama, held a stack of old files. I think your boyfriend's locked up for someone else's mess, he whispered. Dana leaned in, desperate. Victor explained he'd typed the wrong letter years ago, changing Hall to Hill. The record stuck, spreading through national databases like poison. Dana brought the papers to Marcus's new defense attorney, Leonard Price, a stubborn lawyer with a taste for underdog battles. Price spotted inconsistencies immediately: different dates of birth, signatures that didn't match, a driver's license number belonging to another man. For the first time, Marcus felt a flicker of light. The system wasn't invincible. It could be fought. Price filed a motion to reopen the case, but Cutter fought back viciously. She accused Marcus of fabricating evidence, claiming Victor was a paid witness. The judge, tired of delays, denied motions. Marcus felt the ground slipping again. Dana cried in the gallery. Still, Price pressed forward, gathering fingerprints, handwriting samples, and testimonies from Ohio colleagues who swore Marcus never left the state. The tension boiled at the next hearing. Cutter thundered, accusing Marcus of manipulating the system. Price countered, slamming documents on the bench, this is not Marcus Hall. This man is Marcus Hill. For the first time, jurors looked uncertain. Reporters scribbled faster. Outside the courthouse, whispers spread, maybe this was bigger than a typo, maybe it was a cover-up. Instead of backing down, Cutter doubled down. She filed contempt charges against Victor Ramirez, trying to discredit the old clerk. She painted Marcus as a cyber criminal who hacked records to clear his name. The weight of state authority pressed down. Marcus's hope wavered, but Price's fire grew stronger. He knew one thing: lies rot from the inside out. Then came the break. A forensic expert testified the digital trail clearly showed the original name was Hall, altered in error, years before Marcus's arrest. Every system that flagged him relied on that one faulty keystroke. Cutter's face paled. The very rule she used against him now condemned her case. Momentum shifted. Reporters latched onto the Typo trial, painting Cutter as reckless. Editorials questioned how many others might be trapped by clerical errors. Price stood taller in court, demanding transparency. Marcus, though still shackled, felt dignity return. For the first time, his voice mattered. "I am not that man," he told the jury. And this time, they listened. Evidence piled high: employment records, credit card transactions, witnesses from Ohio church services. Each proved Marcus's innocence. Cutter struggled, her arguments collapsing under scrutiny. Whispers in the courtroom turned against her. Dana's eyes welled with relief. Marcus felt decades of faith in justice finally stir, as if the truth itself was clawing out of its cage. Cutter grew frantic, her voice sharp, her tone desperate. She tried to pivot, saying Marcus could have used aliases, traveled unnoticed. But every claim crumbled. The judge's patience thinned. Price demanded sanctions against her for withholding contradictory evidence. Suddenly, the hunter looked like he had hunted. Marcus started, stunned. The system that once crushed him was now wobbling. The trial neared its climax. Both sides hurled arguments like blades. The jury sat tight, tension thick. Cutter fought to save her career, Price fought to save a man's life. Every exhibit, every testimony, narrowed the distance to truth. Dana prayed silently in the back row. Marcus clenched his fists. The storm was reaching its center. Final testimony struck hard. The forensic expert returned, confirming, beyond doubt, Marcus Hill's fingerprints didn't match Hall's. The jury leaned forward. Cutter's jaw tightened. The gallery murmured louder. Marcus exhaled shakily. He'd been patient for months, enduring humiliation, chains, and lies. But the moment was near when his name would no longer be dirt. The judge, weary yet attentive, leaned on the bench. Price dropped the bombshell, a certified death certificate. Marcus Hall, the real offender, had died 2 years earlier in Florida. The man Alabama sought to punish no longer existed. Only Marcus Hill bore the burden of his ghost. But one detail was always there, buried in plain sight. Cutter erupted, insisting the certificate was forged. Price called in a Florida coroner live via video, verifying the record. Silence blanketed the courtroom. Cutter's voice cracked. Jurors exchanged looks of disbelief. Marcus, heart pounding, realized the nightmare was breaking. His freedom was no longer a hope, it was demanding recognition. The defense stacked every piece: the typo, the fingerprints, and the death certificate. One by one, the pillars of Cutter's case crumbled. The jury watched, spellbound. Even the judge's gavel trembled slightly as he announced closing arguments. Marcus closed his eyes, whispering, "Let it end." Justice was no longer a dream, it was an inch away. The jury foreperson stood. "Not guilty." Gasps echoed. Marcus's knees buckled. Cutter's face was drained of color. The judge ordered immediate release. And then every voice fell silent as the truth hit the table. Marcus walked free that afternoon, chains finally gone. Cutter faced disciplinary review for misconduct. Victor Ramirez, once burdened with guilt, was hailed as a whistleblower. Dana embraced Marcus outside the courthouse, cameras flashing. Justice had been slow, cruel, and nearly derailed, but it arrived. The typo that stole his freedom could no longer hold him hostage. Life wasn't instantly whole. Marcus carried scars of mistrust and sleepless nights. Yet he rebuilt, speaking publicly about wrongful convictions, pushing for reforms to clean faulty databases. Dana stood by him, unwavering. The fight cost them months of life, but it gave them clarity. Justice is fragile, but truth endures when voices refuse to be silenced. The last image is Marcus stepping into the Ohio sunlight, hand in hand with Dana, their shadows stretching long but free. His eyes close, breathing deeply, freedom, unfiltered at last. Lesson: even the smallest errors, left unchecked, can destroy lives. But courage, persistence, and truth can restore what lies try to erase. If you believe stories like this deserve to be heard, subscribe to this channel and never miss the next case where truth prevails.